All right, folks, you know what time it is? We are back for another review of Fear the Walking Dead. This time, episode 16 of season 6, The Beginning. Now, before we get started in this, I have to once again address this is non spoilers, which means that there's nothing that is going to give away or take away from your enjoyment of the episode where you can watch on AMC Plus Thursday or AMC on Sunday. And if you have a problem with it being non-spoilers, then tough, not my fault. And for the folks who for somehow reason think I'm just making up these reviews and I'm not actually watching the episode, then also don't care what you think. So now that's out the way, let's jump into the episode here. So after last week, and you know, Teddy is really the reason why, like, at the end of the day, after watching this episode, I just can't help but to think, like, man, it's crazy. We're in a zombie apocalypse and whatnot, but like, shoot, the living is the biggest danger. It ain't the walkers, and the fact that they're even in this predicament where he set off these nuclear missiles, and you know, one missile with multiple warheads. It's just like, how? Why? How are we even at this point? But we are, and now that they've been launched, and you know, everyone's pretty much scrambling for safety or survival or coming to terms with their end. So we're getting vantage points of the entire group split up, all trying to make do with whatever their strategy is. And like, everyone's not going to survive. That's just that. But yeah, some people are content with letting this be the end. Some people, you know, Teddy and the crazy people, this is the beginning for them. And then some people are trying to, you know, wait out the storm here by survival, finding bunkers and stuff like that. So that's pretty much the gist of this episode. I will say, like, at one point, I was like, wait, how long does a missile take to re-enter the atmosphere and obviously crash and go off? Because, like, at one point I thought it was just a consecutive timeline of things happening, but it's the vantage points of each group, each either individual or groupings of everybody who split up. So you're just seeing Morgan's distress message going out, basically saying what's happening, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And then you just see every single body's like trying to make do with everything. And of course, Strands would be the most extra, as it always is with him. It's always something with him. So Strands was definitely the one you're just like. But I also will say that Teddy and Dakota also is like a really like shocker. Like it's crazy. I mean, Dakota's just a troubled child. Like, she really, 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 really is. But the beginning of this episode, I was not ready. All I'm gonna say is that mama bears are some of the toughest humans in the entire world. Like, the beginning of this episode set a tone, and I was just not ready. And I am still kind of like, wow. That's all I'm gonna say. But mama bears are some of the toughest humans in the world. We see a display of that in a way that I just do not. I just do not know. That's all I'm gonna say. Um, but with Teddy too, you know, Teddy, this is his whole plan of, you know, resetting the world by creating the ending so that the Phoenix could rise and whatever, whatever. But like, is Teddy actually really buying his own juice here? Like, is he? Cause you don't know, man. I don't know. And then obviously, you know, the idea of surviving this means that the possible exposure to radiation, which is a huge issue going forward. So kind of put that into perspective too for the ones who are trying to survive. Or again, some people are like, hey, you know, this is that, and some people's like, you know, we're gonna figure this out. But yeah, let me say, in regards to the beginning of this episode, it is really crazy. The near ending of this episode, talk about life and its miracles. Seeing something kind of come full circle. I really didn't see that happening. I didn't piece it together by any means, but it's a crazy full circle thing that kind of happens. But there's this one really funny moment with Riley, who I'm just not a fan of, and I'm not a fan of anybody who's a fan of Teddy, so that's that. But like, there's this one pretty funny moment with Riley, in spite of everything happening and things being so tense, that was definitely the joke of of the episode. But yeah, the ending of this episode definitely left me with some questions. I definitely have. I don't know what to think of the ending. And there is also something very interesting that happens that could create some huge implications for the future of the Walking Dead universe. Yeah, I'm not even going to give it away, but if you've been wondering when something may happen or when something may start to intervene in this, yeah, finally, I think we're kind of getting an idea of what's next to come with that. So yeah, like I said, there's something interesting that could really really be shaping and forming the future of the Walking Dead universe. So have to wait and see. But overall, this episode was okay. For the idea that everyone's trying to survive a nuclear missile getting ready to go to detonate and within the atmosphere, I didn't feel like there was a ton of urgency. I mean, yes, there was urgency, but I didn't feel like there was a ton of emotion tied to the urgency. So like, I was like up and down with where my sympathy was for everybody. I was just like, oh man, and so I was like, but I was tense. I was definitely was like, oh man, I just don't know how this is going to play out. And also too, I was a little bit of me was kind of thinking like, are they really going to go there with this? Like, were we really going to go there with this episode? I definitely had my reserves about certain developments going down, but overall, this is an interesting episode. Not one of my favorites, but the opening, this is with DC folks. But yep, that'll do it for this week's review of Fear the Walking Dead, the beginning, episode 16. Jump in the comments, let me know what you think. Be positive, because I'm ignoring everybody that isn't. And until next week, we'll be back. So stay tuned and let me know your thoughts to this episode. Big Goldberg.